What's going on, guys? It's November 29th, 2019. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I have a lot to be thankful for this year. I have a 4.5-month-old son. My wife's horse had a foal, which is healthy and getting huge and beautiful. We have our health. We're paying our bills, and I have knives in front of me. Life is good. We have so much to be thankful for. I really appreciate you guys watching. That's another thing I'm thankful for. And please subscribe and share with your friends if they want to see reviews on some of these knives. As you know, I have a bunch of knives on loan that I'm doing reviews on. I carried these around all day today and used them a little bit. And here we have the Benchmade Bugout and Bailout. So the Bugout came out in 2017 and is considered blue class. And the Bailout came out in 2019, which is considered a black class. Not really sure why they separated these two classes, but we'll get more into that in just a minute. So what I'm going to do on this one is just kind of lay them both out and kind of compare some of the specs just to start off, okay? So, overall length on the Bugout is 7.46 inches. The overall length for the Bailout is 8.07. The blade, 3.24, 3.38. The thickness is exactly the same, 0.09 inches. Very, very thin, by the way. Very thin. Handle thickness, 0.42, 0.39. Blade steel, we have S30V, 3V. This is a chromium nitride finish on the blade. Kind of gives it a gray matte finish. It's beautiful. And here we have a gray Cerakote, which looks great as well. The handles are both made out of the special thing that they call grivery. What I like to call it is plastic, because that's what it is. It's plastic, folks. So these knives are very similar in a lot of ways. You can see the pattern is very similar. The screw placement, see the bottom to the left, the middle, and then the upper left. Very, very similar. They really are. Of course, we have the Tonto blade that looks awesome. So the fit and finish is fantastic on these knives. They really are. This one has a lanyard hole. They both have lanyard holes. The Bugout has the built-in one with the handle. Here we have an aluminum pommel or lanyard hole here. The pocket clips are reversible. They are a short, deep carry pocket clip, and the retention is fantastic. It really, really holds onto your pocket better than a lot of bigger knives that I have. I really, really like it. Some people might complain about that, but I figure if I have a lower likelihood of losing a knife, why would I complain? Okay. Let's talk about weight. The Bugout is 1.85 ounces. Under 2 ounces, folks. This thing is so extremely light. It is pretty amazing. I mean, it's a very thin knife, but man, I tell you what, that is light, super light. You can't really feel it much in your pocket. I mean, it's definitely not going to weigh down your pocket. Okay, so these knives are similar in a lot of ways. The Bugout, for the most part right now, and you could probably find prices that vary and things like that, but it's about $136. It's very expensive. I mean, remember this little thing right here? You are definitely paying for that little butterfly right there. There's no doubt in my mind, because they're knives with similar or better materials for a cheaper price. But Benchmade sets the price, and these knives have been doing great for Benchmade. They've sold a lot of them. Okay, I'm just giving my opinion. That's all this is. All right. The weight of the Bailout is 2.05 ounces. So just a little bit more. I mean, the blade is a little bit longer. You also have this pommel here. So it's going to add some weight, right? Do know the tang on these knives only go down to here. That's what that screw is there for. Okay. So it doesn't go the length of the knife, and there's no liners, right? It's just the plastic handles. So there's no liners. But otherwise, the knives are extremely similar. Again, I'm not sure why they made this a black class in the Bailout. I think it's because of the Tonto blade. Otherwise, it's pretty darn similar to the Bugout. But they are different. I actually prefer the Bailout because it's a little bit longer in my hand. It just feels like I have more to hold on to, and when this hits my palm, it just feels like a bigger knife, and I like bigger knives. As you guys know, I don't like small knives. I don't. What is, every ounce counts when you're out in the mountains and things like that, and you're hiking, which is awesome, but I wouldn't trust my life with this knife at the same time. It's under 2 ounces. It's great. You can probably cut rope with this, package cardboard. You can cut all kinds of stuff. Fabric. I know it would cut your skin and it would pierce your skin because that's not that strong. Self-defense, hunting. I would not use this knife. When you open a knife like this in the office, people don't get scared of it. It's small. It's a small knife. When you hear the word murdery, people get worried about, what people think about their knives. Well, look at this one. I've opened this knife in the office and people are like, damn, dude, what are you doing? I'm going to call the cops. They get scared when you see a big knife like this and it has all these crazy shapes, and I don't know, people get scared. So with these knives, it's probably not going to happen. Now, do I have any knives to actually compare to these that I own? Sure. Let's talk about that. I have the Kershaw Skyline in a Damascus finish. It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. The Kershaw Skyline is 2.5 ounces. So for categorizing these or putting them in order, it would be like this. Okay? The Skyline weighs a little bit more. But, think about this. You have a liner that goes the full length of the knife. I think that increases the integrity of the handle. You have G10, which is awesome. I think that increases the integrity of the handle. You have Damascus blade, which is beautiful. Very, very sharp. It is a liner lock. It's not a compression or axis. Okay. But the Kershaw knife is $69 with the Damascus blade. $69. And here you're looking at $136 on the Bugout and about $145 for the Bailout. $69, about the same size, 2.5 ounces with a more robust handle. I'm not going to rub it in. I'm just saying. Okay? Very, very popular seller for Kershaw. If we went a little bit heavier, we could go 4 ounces, 4.1 ounces. We could do the Spyderco Tenacious, which I've already done a review on, but you get huge liners, pillar construction, extremely strong. The blade steel is not as good, as you can see right there, but you got to remember, again, price $47. $47, less than half for these. So just a couple knives to compare, not a big deal. Like I said, I don't want to rub it in or anything like that. I just want to talk about, pros and cons of these knives. Because I don't want to just be negative, it's not all negative about these knives or anything like that. So the fit and finish, like I said before, the fit and finish on these is fantastic. I think they did an excellent job. I think they knocked it out of the park as far as that goes. If you use these knives all day long, if you had them out and used them all day long, there could be some issues under here. These edges right here I could see that kind of messing with your hands. It's a little sharp, the plastic right there. Um, you know, so, but if you're not using them all day long or you have gloves, it's probably not an issue at all. Okay. The weight, obviously, the weight, fantastic. Okay. 1.85 ounces, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. 2.05 ounces, just so light. So you don't feel them in your pocket. If you were hiking with them on your pack, you wouldn't feel them. It's not going to wear you out. As far as ounces that you're hiking with in the mountains or things like that, I've done 30-mile hiking trips before, and every ounce counts. There's no doubt about that. I've seen people, hike 20 miles in and start dumping stuff out of their pack. Whenever they find, a parking lot or a trash can or something, they're just dumping stuff out because they can't carry it. So lightweight's cool. I mean, it's a good thing. Blade material, absolutely fantastic. S30V on the Bugout, which is awesome, and 3V on the Bailout, which is great. So the blade material is awesome. There's no problem with that. They all have their different properties and things like that. I know people have a hard time choosing knives as far as the steel goes. I have this handy dandy little Benchmade catalog. You could probably get one if you call them and ask them for it. I got it from GP Knives in Troy, Illinois when I went by there. So here you can see the blade steel. You have edge retention, strength, corrosion. I'm not going to go into this, but here you have the M4. If you want to pause it and look at that, you can. And then you have the 3V, and you can pause it and look at that. So a little more corrosive, very, very tough. I'm sorry, S30V. I was talking about the M4. But anyway, if you want to pause this at any point just to kind of get a look at all of these different properties of steels, you can definitely do that. Okay, so steel is great. Now let's go into some of the cons, because there's always a plus and a minus, and again, depending on the use of these knives, I think they're great. So let's just go right into it. The handles, that's ridiculous, guys. This is ridiculous. These are plastic handles. This knife is $136. I don't know how much Benchmade, has in cost for this knife, but $136. It's plastic. $145. It's plastic. So $145. I think the prices are outrageous, but sometimes that's Benchmade. I just feel like, you can get some pretty awesome knives for less. And maybe you can get big, robust knives for a little bit more if that's what you're looking for. I wish they had liners. I do wish they had some kind of reinforced liner or a longer tang or something that made it a little more robust, because that's not there, and I don't fully trust it. This knife, like I said, it was used for 8 months and it stood the test of time, and it's still sharp. And it's got some scratches and stuff like that. You can tell it was actually carried quite a bit, but I don't know. Maybe it's in my head. I don't know if I can trust that. So, and then overall, I think for me personally, I feel like these knives are just too small for my hands. I like a bigger knife and something I can hold on to. So, that's just me. And I know that changes person to person. So those are the pros and cons. If money is not an issue, let me put it that way, and the scales are what are stopping you from really liking these knives, which is similar to me, they do make aftermarket scales. For example, there is a company called Flytanium, and they make scales for the Bugout. They make titanium for $73, G10 for $39, carbon fiber for $74, and brass at $183. And I think there's also copper handles for this, which would be crazy. All of those options would most likely increase the weight. I'm not sure about the carbon fiber, but everything else would definitely increase the weight. But I think it would also increase the integrity of the handle, which is important to me, and I feel like that's lacking here. Sometimes you pay for that when you're trying to go light. For the Bailout, they make a titanium scale pair for $96, G10 for $69, and then I actually saw a complete knife through GP Knives in Troy, Illinois. Whether you go to the brick and mortar store or online, great company, legit, awesome inventory. They have a Bailout with green canvas micarta scales, which was awesome, for $214. This knife is originally $145, so you're paying for it. You know what I mean? It's going to go up to $214, but it looked pretty cool. It would be hard not to buy if I saw it in person. And I'm actually going there tomorrow with my brother-in-law. I shouldn't even bring my wallet, but I'll probably end up buying something. Just don't tell my wife. So that's the ins and outs of these knives, guys. I hope it kind of opened your perspective on them on both sides, factually for what they are, and then kind of some of the low points, in my opinion, and the shortcomings of these knives. Okay, so I really, really appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Take care.